Sherri, man, I gotta tell you, she came in here excited this morning.
Yes, I did. But I just want to take just one little moment because I love this. And I think it's so important to acknowledge growth.
Yes,
Y'all, we got episodes.
Yeah, multiple episodes.
Thing, right? Like, that's just dope.
Yo,
like,
big shout out to the marketing team and Solace in the house.
Yes,
They're doing this thing, getting us our podcasts out and getting it, turned around quick. So
I know,
big turnout.
But this started as an idea.
It did.
So it was Christmas.
It was Christmas, yeah.
And you were talking about a podcast,
yep.
And I was like, because we had tried a podcast like years ago.
Like
before
it was a podcast, right? We're like, let's just record something,
right. Let's just sit down and talk. Like,
it happens.
Right. And so that idea came back up, and it was like, okay, let's run with this.
Well, I think we're in different places now, man. I think at the end of the day, you find,
I wasn't a parent then.
Yeah, and I think because we're in different places, like our thought process is different, right?
Absolutely.
I think that means a big part of it. So, here's where we're at. Man.
Absolutely.
So Sherri came in this morning and was extremely excited about a book she's reading. It touched her heart so much that she was beaming. I wish you guys could have saw how much she was beaming. But what was cool about it, I had an idea of what I wanted to talk about today, but because she's so excited about this, let's drive into what she's talking about and see how it goes from there.
Okay.
So tell us a little bit. First, I think you should read your story, or excuse me, your letter you wrote to yourself, just journaling.
Yes.
Because I think it gives a context.
Okay, so this is a little bit of vulnerability.
Yes.
So y'all
no judgments.
Be kind in the comments. Okay, just real talk, girl.
But I just want to say I'm proud of you, Sherri.
Thank you.
I am, because that's big what you just said, and how you express it in your letter. I think more than anything, it gives just the opportunity in seeing that you are growing, and that's big.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right,
and as Erykah Badu said, I'm sensitive about my shit. Okay? Y'all be nice to me in the comments.
All right.
So this is what I wrote. I said, today it dawned in me in a different way that money never fixes money problems.
Come on.
Money must be handled with the highest intention. It cannot be used with fear or anxiety or worry. I have been utilizing money in all those ways. I was afraid of money, or maybe I was afraid I couldn't generate more money, or that I would allocate it improperly. I was afraid of the distance between big sums of money coming into my life. Every time a decent sum of money made its way into my life, I would feel a little bit of fear about when the next sum of that size would follow. Every big payment felt like the last of its kind, so I would spend it as slowly as I could, hoping that this time I wouldn't run through it. You don't just need a budget. You also need money flowing in a way that it can bring you more money. You need money going toward financial freedom. You need money going back to your source. You need money going to your education. You need money going to big ticket items that are in every life, and you need money going toward play. You must have a place in your life where you enjoy money, for you will never bring into your life more of what you do not enjoy. I must enjoy money.
Come on now. Look at that girl growing up over there.
Yeah.
Getting me a little excited. I get a little warm tingle in myself. She get a little knowledge.
You know what? We need like a little growth chart.
Right? She just went up a level, right?
Went up a notch. Okay.
There it is.
But it was really... I couldn't understand how to separate fear from money. Mm-hmm. And so no matter how many affirmations I did, no matter how many prosperity classes I had, no matter what I did, there was always a little bit of fear. And so I could attract, if you will, for those of you law of attraction folks, I could attract a big sum of money, but the money would come, and then I'd be thinking about, okay, when is the next... there was no system for bringing in money at that level and at that size. So when the big sums came in, there was always this fear in it, a little bit behind the scenes. Like, it wasn't like, the scarecrow or whatever, from Wizard of Oz, but just a little bit, in the background, like kind of like a background noise. Mm-hmm. And I didn't know what to do about it. And it was in really implementing, I think I shared with you, I went to the Millionaire Mind Intensive. It was really in implementing that 6-jar system when I started to put money specifically aside for financial projects, to put money aside for big ticket items, to put money aside for play. That was a huge one. You know, it was when I started to do that I could actually look ahead and say, oh, okay, I've got this book project. Now I know how it's going to be paid. Because in the past, it had really been paid by current dollars. What did I currently have in the bank to fund the book production? What did I currently have in the bank to fund the whatever? And so it wasn't, working that system, it just changed the game. And I really saw how I didn't have an intention for financial freedom, even though I was talking financial freedom.
Come on. I got a lot out of just that statement you said, and like if I was going to summarize the things that kind of stood out to me is I'm going to say fear, right? Mm-hmm. Because whatever you were going through that was holding you back from finding your greatness when it had to deal with money, you were going through that and it was real to you, right?
100.
Then I also got out of that I love this quote I always say, when the student is ready, the teacher will appear. Talk to me. So the realness of this is that, you had said before when we were thinking about doing our podcast years ago, we were talking about the 6
in
jars,
fact,
right?
It was an office in El Segundo.
Yeah. Exactly.
That's how long ago that was.
Been, right?
Right.
And it's like the system of having the 6 jars or 8 jars or whatever it was just a way to kind of say, here's these different accounts that are going to fund different things, right? And you knew this, right?
Yes.
And you've heard of it. It's not new to you, right? But today or that day that you went to that event, you were ready.
I was ready.
You were ready to receive it. You were ready to think upon it. You were ready to act. More importantly, right? You were ready to act. So that was huge. I really liked that. But then I thought about this other part, right? That really kind of stood out to me is that you gave yourself permission.
Yes.
Big.
Yes.
Big. Sherri, let me get a high five. That girl, she gave herself some permission. She's like, I am ready to go to that next level.
You know what it is, Cory? Life is too short.
Yep.
And I'm headed for a milestone birthday.
Come on now. That's a big birthday. I mean, not a milestone. That's a big stuff. That's a big birthday.
It is a big birthday. And so it's like I don't want the next half to look like the first half.
Right.
And if the next half is going to look different, I got to think differently in order to do things differently.
Change.
Okay, so when we came in, I said, Cory, what you want to talk about today? He said change. So I guess we have circled around to your topic. So what does this file under? This is under personal growth. This is a personal growth. Okay, all right. Yeah. So we have 7 areas, and personal growth is one of those 7 areas that you need to be growing in order to say that you're really winning. Because just having money does not win the money game.
And I think this is also around finance. Because I go back and I always talk about how money is all about a living organism.
Yes.
Right? It's growing. And the way you embrace and understand money will help either it's going to elude you or it comes back to you, right?
Yes.
And so you just went through that same, if we want to call it like an evolution that just kind of just changed everything you were thinking about.
Yes. But can I just kind of circle around that money is a living organism? Because I don't know. I'm thinking about Sherri like pre today, right?
Pre today, right? Before, right? Okay.
Right. So I want to help the people who probably heard that and go, that is just too doggone woo-woo.
Right.
that my understanding of you saying, and you tell me if this agrees with how you're expressing it, that money is a living organism, is that you have to have intention for it. The same way that your body is a living organism, and if you're going to have health, you have to have an intention that's backed up by some actions.
Correct. So
in order to move it, so same thing with the money, that you treat your money the way you treat your body.
Correct. I mean, it's just like a muscle, right? In order to build muscle, you have to intentionally work at it. It doesn't just happen overnight.
Right.
Same thing with money, right? In order to really understand how money is going to grow and how you're going to leverage money to your ability, you have to understand it, right? You have to know what things are going to help you move in that direction. In your case right now, when you're talking about these 6 jars, right? It was an epiphany that opened your mind to say, I now have a visual on what I need to do to get me to that next level.
Yes.
And that's a step in the direction of understanding money.
Yes.
Again, a living organism. So most definitely, I'm excited that I'm like, she's so doing it now. Yes.
I'm looking for private placements. Let's get
private placements. I got some real estate transactions. Yeah, she's like, let's get it going now, right?
Hey,
anything is open.
But I'm telling you, it's the system.
Yes.
And everybody has a system, so it's just what your are you conscious about your system for handling money, or is it what your parents gave you and then you just kind of perpetuating that into your adult life, which is really honestly what mine was. No shade to my mama, because my mama is a badass.
I think that's a big one. I mean, if you and I wrote this down there, how you were brought up around money, like that really kind of defines what you believe in money. Like if you're someone who, when you were growing up, your parents always said, no, we can't have, no, we don't have enough of it, no, we can't do that because we can't do it today, maybe next time the money comes in, then you're programming your children to believe at the end of the day, money is something that's scarce, we can't hold on to it, we can't do anything to lose it, so everything's got to be tight. You got to hold it.
So,
you know what I'm saying?
To that point with the play account, because that was a huge one for me, because I had gotten on this like debt repayment plan, so everything was going to like knocking down debt. You know, I'm moving with gazelle-like intensity, and what I realized when he said, "You will never bring into your life more of what you don't enjoy," it was the realization that I had no place in my life where I enjoyed money. So there was no seed anywhere in my experience for an enjoyable experience with money. So even, you know, for example, later this month we're going to see Alvin Ailey with my church. So I took $80 to, you know, pay for those tickets. So if I'm telling the truth about what was happening inside of me, there was a little bit of guilt, or maybe it was guilt about taking money away from paying debt down. And it felt like, well, you know what? I got to be there for this fellowship opportunity, you know, with my church. I'm the senior minister. Hello, right. You know, I can't not show up at the play. You know, but it wasn't like, yay, I'm going to see Alvin Ailey. It was like, I wish Alvin Ailey was coming in July. You know, so it was, and every expense that was supposed to be quote unquote for fun felt like that. It felt like I'm taking from where it should be going and putting it towards my fun. And really, because I've made these mistakes and gotten in debt, I'm probably not entitled to have fun right now.
Well, you know, here, I think going back to the part that you said earlier, that your mom has done an amazing job raising who you are, right?
Yes.
Okay. And I know the fact that she has, right?
Yes. My mom is a boss. So,
but I think also at the same time, you know, it's all about modeling, right? Mm-hmm. And what we see is what we model, right?
Yes.
Unfortunately.
Yes.
And I think because where you are right now in this chapter of your life, right? You realize that there are people out there that you're modeling after now, and that you're seeing the level of success that they're at, and you're saying to yourself, I want that, right? And more importantly, not only do I want that, I deserve that.
I deserve that.
And now you're going to go get it, right? How do I go get it? I'm going to run after it, for sure.
As a kid,
I think that's the big part.
As a kid said, I'm trying to secure the bag.
That's right. Okay.
Yeah.
And I think because of that reason now, like this is this like wow factor that just came over you, right? And the great part of this is that this is where you explode, right? Because now your mind is turning. Now you're thinking of all the things that you didn't think about before. See, what I love the most about, you know, personal development is like, you don't know what you don't know, right? And you just don't know, right?
You don't know what you don't know.
But when you learn it, it's like, oh my goodness.
Let's go.
Where did this happen, right?
Yes.
how did I not know this,
Yes,
right? It's been around how long?
Yes,
right,
yes,
exactly.
yes.
So,
and that's really where I'm now.
Yeah.
I'm at that, like, all right, I got it. Let's go.
Let's go get
I
it.
got the system.
Yeah.
Now, I mean, there's still plenty more to learn. Trust me, like, where my head is now is, passive income vehicles and, like, building towards that. But one other thing I wanted to go back to the play thing, because this was a big thing. So, growing up, we only got toys at Christmas.
Right.
But today, kids, every time you go in the store, Mama, can I have? Mama, can I have? Mama, can I have? It's like
I'm talking about Jordan.
Like, Mama, can I have? Mama, it's like a record, like a scratch record. And so what I wouldn't say is we can't afford it, because I know not to program him with that.
Right.
But I didn't have any order around buying stuff for him. So it really depended on, well, one, did I have the money, and two, did I feel like it in the moment? But I still felt like, God, I don't have any order. Working this system, so one of the principles in this system that T. Harv Eker lays out is that the money in the play jar, you draw it down every 30 days and spend it. On yourself. Because you got to have some place that you're playing. And so what I did, I said, you know what, Jordan? I said, we're putting money aside for our play accounts. I've introduced this idea that we have a play account. Right. And on March 30th,
and you got him getting his own play account, right?
Hello.
Get him his own play account.
And I'm still working out how I'm going to give him money, because I want to make sure that
chores.
Look,
okay. Let me pause for one moment, okay? See, she over here babying this dang kid, all right? I need him to learn the knowledge of where money comes from, okay? So, first and foremost, give him a chore. I don't care if it's something simple. It could be nothing more than just making up his bed, right? But then you're giving him, and this is the reason why I want to say this. Let me pause with this, okay?
Okay.
And the reason why I'm saying this is this, right? When you give a child something to do, they get ownership from it. Right. But then more importantly, you're teaching them how by doing what you do, now there's a repercussion from it, right? And now that, you've done this, you now get a quarter. Now he's earned it, right? So now that teaches him a sense of value of what he's doing, right? Instead of mommy just buying it for him.
Right.
Then on top of that, pop it into your play jar.
Right.
And guess what, baby? At the end of the month, whatever
you
you say, you can spend all that on whatever you want.
Right.
And he gets to choose it. So now you're teaching him reliance on himself, and you're teaching him how to be able to go out there and be a person who can see value in what he does.
Okay,
I'm just saying.
I'm just
saying. Here we go.
Listen. I ain't got no resistance to that. None.
23 years.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. 3 kids. You know what? I have a friend who she says, I learned all my lessons from people with multiple kids.
That's right.
Because she was a mom of just one daughter. She's like, if they got multiple kids, I'm listening to what they're saying.
That's right.
So I hear you. We here.
We on that.
We here. Jordan about to start getting paid for chores.
That's right.
Not for just living.
Not for just hanging out. Mama, can I get that? That was that the Beyblade. I need a tower today.
Right.
I mean, when he came over.
Right. So prior to this conversation, but what I said to him was that, you know what, baby, on March 30th, that's when we get to play with our play money. Right? And so now you can go in the store and you can look, but is it March 30th? And so it was March 1st when this happened. He says, so how many more days? Is it March 30th tomorrow? No, baby. 1, 2, 3, 4. But again, it was order. It was not like buy every time you go in the store. It was order. And that's, I want him as an adult to have orderly thoughts around money. Right. So I 100% will incorporate the payment for chores, but also you don't spend it until that 30-day mark, at least. Right. That you're building towards something. But so this goes back to what I said in the beginning, was the realization that money doesn't fix money problems. And what I couldn't see was how I was handling money that was pushing money out of my experience. And I think that there are probably a lot of people, maybe people that are listening to the podcast today trying to get a sense of wealth habits and get some wealth habits in their life, that probably think money fixes money problems. And that was, I've said it, I've taught it, and I always say, it's consciousness or whatever, but it landed in a different way, that the system for how I was handling money was not solving my money problem. But more money coming into that system of managing money was just going to do the same thing with money that I've always done.
So it's kind of like what we talked about before, until you change your habits around money, right, you'll do the same results. We discussed, I think, in one of our podcasts about people who win the lottery, right?
Yes.
And that because they never change what they do and how they deal with it on that level, now all of a sudden when they got the money, it's like gone in a short period of time because their knowledge and their habits hadn't changed, right?
But I don't feel like this information is like widely out there.
Well, okay, so here's the thing. I think,
like why isn't this taught in school?
But here's the thing, though. I think it's, and not to equate it to this, but it's like a drug addict, right? At the end of the day, someone who's taking drugs and you say, I want to get clean, even though all their family wants you to be able to get clean, it's not until you're ready, right?
Right.
Because you don't receive it, right?
Right.
You and I both talk about this all the time. You can read a book 10 different times and get a different feeling, value, or something
because
from
of who
it
you are when you come
at
to
the time you read
right.
it, right? So I think at the end of the day, our focus has really got to be about when you're ready, right?
Mm-hmm.
And this is why I think right now while we're doing this podcast, right? Both you and I are ready to be able to share things that we're passionate about.
Right.
We're ready to say, hey, here's what has gotten us to where we are right now.
Right.
Now, we are not nowhere near perfect, but what we're trying to do is get to excellence, right? And move in that direction. And this is how we're trying to accomplish it, right? Because I think you learn more by teaching than you do by just listening,
yes,
right?
You do.
So I think the teaching process gives us an opportunity to go, I said that, but I did that. Am I really living that way?
Right.
Because you just said yourself, you've been talking about money and being the best steward of money and all of this stuff, but still in your own personal life, you're saying, I'm going to struggle. Right. And I'm dealing with some things that are possibly holding me back from my greatness, right? Now all of a sudden you found something that said, okay, I now got an understanding where I got to go to the next level.
So to that point, because I'm as much the student as I am the teacher, and my life changed when I stopped being smart. And blessing or curse, blessing or curse.
Y'all did hear her say her life changed. You stopped being smart, right?
No, real talk.
All the facts that Sherri got in her damn head, man. Woo, Lord.
But it's not even that. It's not even that because you got to realize I've been the straight A student forever. Like, we
get it, Sherri. You smart. Go ahead.
No, stop. I'm trying to tell a story here. Okay.
We know, Sherri.
Hush. My point is that if there was a class, I'm always at the top of it, right? So my identity was wrapped up in being smart. My identity was wrapped up in what I knew, and my value, how I valued myself, was wrapped up in that. So I lead with, I got. We really should have an episode called Facts, where I share with you some of the random.
Shit that's in your head. I know. I already know. Some of the stuff she come up with, I'm like, let me look that up when we get off the air. When we get off the air, I'm going to look it up.
I can take you to NASA. I can take you into insects. It's a whole... The point is,
focus, Sherri.
The point is that I really had to become a student, meaning that I had to detach my identity from being smart or being brilliant or all the things that people say about me that, puff up my ego, because there were places where I absolutely had no knowledge or not enough knowledge to make a difference. And as long as I was the smart one, I couldn't get the information. And so I had to really become a student. And I'm telling you, it was a personal declaration that I made, is that I am no longer smart. I am a student. I am a perpetual learner. And when I made that personal declaration for myself, it changed everything. Personal growth for me took off. And I still have to be mindful of that, because different settings that I go into, I still get that response from people of like, well, how much do you know? I get that response. And so I have to be mindful not to find value in that, to appreciate it, to accept the compliment, but not to reattach my identity to what I know, but to attach my identity to my ability to actually learn and grow. And that was a huge personal growth thing for me, was just to let that go. to step out of that. And again, somebody who may have been the C student, the D student, they may not have had that. So that wasn't their thing. But these were things that came to me without effort. That the A's came without effort. In school, in college, in grade school, and wherever. So learning to apply effort was a really big deal for me, because so many things that I valued came without effort. And so that's it. Just, I'm.
So to kind of summarize a little bit about this podcast, we're really talking about getting to know who you are in yourself.
Yes.
Right? And then also being able to take the ability to know that when the time is right, you're going to be able to hear what you need to hear.
Yes.
Right? And I think also at the same time that it's okay to give yourself permission to have.
Permission
right?
to have.
And
yes.
then last but not least, you got to play.
You gotta play. You have to have some place in your life. You gotta make it okay to play.
Yep, it's okay. Well, Sherri, I think you were pretty fire on this one, all right? This was your zone. You're excited about it.
And money doesn't fix money problems.
Money doesn't
They
fix
really
money
need to walk
problems.
away with that.
Yeah, if nothing else,
yes.
Yes. I think this was a great little context of enjoying how you just have to be ready when it's time.
Absolutely.
Good stuff. All right, guys. Well, that's our second. Let me back up. That's the end of this episode
of the Wealth Habits podcast, where if all you have is money, you are not winning.
Not winning. All right, guys. Have a great day.